Welcome to the Business Insider Podcast, where we interview the top business leaders in their respective industries. Hey, what's going on, guys? Today, I am excited to introduce a special VIP guest. We've got Marc here. He is the CEO of Dexter Agency. Marc, thank you so much for coming on the pod today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So as you know, I've got a bunch of questions lined up for you, and I'm sure audience is wondering, specifically what you guys do and really what the major outcomes are for your clients that work with you. So before the podcast, you kind of given me a brief rundown on what that looked like. If you wouldn't mind reiterating that to the audience, man, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so we are a full service CRO agency, which means that we do everything for e-commerce brands, by the way. That's our specialty, from like the research up to actually implementing the winning A/B tests that are proven to increase their revenue. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do. And we focus a lot on, of course, the user interface. It has to make sense for people. They have to, they need to know kind of how to use the website. But we see also, especially with Shopify coming around, that usually the basics are kind of covered, and now it's more of a matter of, okay, you need to really convince people to buy from you and that you are the right kind of brand to buy from. There are so many competitors, like, why you? So we also focus a lot, on what motivates people to buy. What goals are they trying to fulfill? Like, even if you have a simple product, like there's still a goal that needs to be fulfilled. And how are you fulfilling that for them? What pain points do you need to tackle? And there are a lot of fears and doubts. People have been either scammed before, or they have bought products that were actually crap, and or they maybe the color was off. And so we need to figure out what kind of doubts and fears you have, and how you can tackle that on your website, and that will definitely boost conversions. And so since it's A/B testing, it's done a lot with 7 and 8 figure stores. But we last year launched also a service to help 5 and 6 figure stores to actually grow by like building those foundations for them, or helping them build them. And so we have a community that helps them kind of fix it themselves, to sort it out themselves, because usually they don't have the money, or they don't have the know-how to do it themselves.
Right.
And in the community, we can offer it to them in a kind of low-cost way, where they can just build those foundations themselves.
Makes sense. So if you were to define your superpower or the unique skill or insight that really sets you apart in your space, what would it be, and how has it shaped your success?
Yeah, it's a bit strange to talk about your superpower, but what I've realized over the years, I didn't know it before, but like, just because you're doing your job, you have your day to day, and you encounter a lot of situations, is that one of the things I'm good at is to find out what the issue is, kind of to create clarity in the chaos. Usually people jump on a call with me and they say, like, my revenue is not growing, nothing's working, but they don't really know why. And with the questions that I ask, and to sometimes also just audit their website and the numbers that they have, I am able to distill it to a problem, and also to prioritize, like, hey, this is what's going on, and this is actually what you should be focused on. You should not be focusing on maybe even your conversion rate, even though that's what we do. If it's not what they need to focus on, I'm just going to be very honest about that. I say, like, hey, your problem is just, for example, you don't have enough traffic, or you have low quality traffic. You're just sending very, very bad traffic to your site, and that's your problem. So I would say that is kind of my superpower, if you want to call it like that, creating clarity.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think that's an amazing explanation of that. So I'm curious, Marc, what kind of inspired you to pursue your current path, man? I mean, how'd you get here?
Yeah, I started off as a bit of a general marketeer. Like, back in the day, you wouldn't believe, but it was difficult to get a job in marketing. I'm talking about 15 years ago, when I also came from a university. And so I was happy that someone offered me a job as a marketeer, but I was basically doing everything, like managing the website, doing email, doing Google Ads, to do SEO. And I felt like I wasn't really good at anything. Like, I could do all of them, but I wasn't really,
Like an
spectacular in any of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I felt a bit like, a bit of an imposter, and acting like I could do it while I actually wasn't. I should be doing better. And then CRO came on my path. I had never heard of it, but it just all suddenly made sense to me. Like, that, for me, that came very natural, very obvious. Like, all these user interface optimizations that you need to have in place. I was like, yeah, of course. All these psychological principles behind it. I just had a knack for it. apparently I discovered then had a knack for data analysis, to dig into data and to find out what's wrong. So for me, I finally felt like, hey, this is something I can specialize in. That's something that I'm actually good at, and I can become hopefully an expert in. And so that's why how I rolled into CRO.
Gotcha. No, that's an interesting story. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs really kind of start off feeling that way where it's like, damn, like, I'm really not good at anything. I feel like I'm kind of faking it, but it's like at the same time, it's like, you kind of have to do that at the beginning, right? I mean, you don't really have a choice. You have to hone in that skill, you have to learn, and you have to get clients. So I feel like it's kind of one of those things where you get the client and you just do whatever you can to figure it out and make sure you deliver for them.
Mm-hmm. Fake it till you make it. But also sometimes when you go in head deep, you have no other choice than figuring it out. And so it also is a good motivator for you to actually get on that horse and acquire those skills. If you don't have it, like try to acquire those. But it's also difficult to acquire like 5 different disciplines all at once. So that's why it made more sense for me to specialize and focus on one.
Definitely. So through your journey, how powerful has networking been to your success? And what would you recommend other entrepreneurs do to up their game?
Yeah, so you talked about my superpower. Now you kind of, without you knowing, are talking about my weak spot. That is networking.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's super important. Like, I cannot, I can try to say it's not and can try to pretend it's not, but it is. A lot of actually the clients that we have they come through referrals and word of mouth and the network actually. So it is very important. It's just what I noticed is that a lot of people, they try to get as wide as the reach as they can, and it's all very flimsy. And I have narrowed it down in the sense like if I'm going to include someone in my network, I want to invest in that person. I want to know about their business, for example, about what they achieve, what they stand for. Uh, I have to like them as well. Like it may be not very smart as a CEO to be like that, but I noticed that I built stronger relationships with those people. It also doesn't feel like an effort because I actually like them. And maybe we could be bigger as an agency if I had like reached out to everyone and stayed in contact, but I just cannot manage to manage a network of like 1,000 people, and remember everyone's daughter and when they got married and things like that. So it's about like focusing on the people around you. Also important not to be too stuck in your own niche. So like a good friend of mine is an SEO. I have another one who is in paid ads, like specialties that we don't do, but they can offer. And that's also really helpful because they have, for example, clients that could use our help. We have clients that could use their help. So you also can a bit help each other. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it is very important, but I have to be honest, it's something that I had to work on myself.
Yeah, it's definitely very important, but I do feel like you brought up a very important point where it's not really about, meeting as many people as possible. You need to really build strong relationships with people and, actually build that relationship, have that personal touch and, hopefully, maybe partner or build partnerships from that. So yeah, I think that's a really great way of networking.
Yeah.
Um, so kind of switching gears here for a second. So AI, everybody's talking about it. It's impacting every industry. How is AI impacting your industry specifically, and are you guys utilizing it?
We are using it. That's for sure. We're using it in more of a creativity kind of way, so you can bounce off ideas. If you say like, okay, I need to have the concept for this particular like A/B test or something, you can use AI to come up with ideas to also say like, okay, this is for example a certain copy I'm going to use. What is weak and what is strong in this copy? What we, for example, realize is that copywriting is not yet its forte. It comes off very like you can you are on LinkedIn, Riley?
Yes.
Yeah. So how many of the posts that you see are probably written by AI?
Like I can't count. In the sense where I definitely see a lot. It's very easy to see through that.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to spot. So we use it more to kind of enhance what we're doing and to improve what we're already doing. But it's not yet up to a point where it can replace what we are doing yet. It might be able to do that in the future. I think, for example, creative agencies are like a bit like shitting their pants because you can just let it create an image, and so who's going to get like a creative design like that's going to be very difficult for especially just the smaller agencies or freelancers in that regard. And I think with CRO at some point, it'll also be like you can scrape our website and say, okay, what do I need to improve? But I think before we're there, because it is quite a specialist kind of way of thinking and looking at things. I think what it will be used more now is, hey, I have a ton of customer reviews. What are their pain points? What are their motivations? What do we need to improve? What can we add to our site? What they like and what they need. So it helps in the research part of things. So for now, I think it will help agencies and freelancers and consultants in CRO, but we need to be aware that at some point it could replace us. People might do more and more it themselves because AI enables them to do it themselves, and we would be more of a matter of we need to support them. And that's why we, for example, create a community where we actually guide people, where we give them support, we give them guidance, because people are starting to wanting to do it on their own.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So for you, Mark, what is one of the biggest challenges you've had to face as an entrepreneur to this point? How did you overcome it? And what is one life lesson you learned from that experience?
That's quite a difficult question. Like the challenge is, I think, not questioning yourself too much. Like you need to question yourself, or else otherwise you're just running blind and you crash against the wall. But it's also like you need to find that balance. Like when do I have a good idea and I need to continue and pursuing it? Because results don't come after a day or after a week. So you don't really know if you're going in the right path. Like when we create this community, like we had a feeling we were on a good path. Like, people were interested, people were want to sign up before we created it, but you never know for sure. Like when do you need to stop and think about what actually should I do instead when you're running your business? Or maybe we should pivot to this new upcoming technology or hype. And when do you need to get fixed on your idea and actually pull it through? So there's always a bit of a doubt. Am I taking the right decision? And I think that's something that I'm still battling every day. Am I making the right decision here with going in this direction and going in that direction? And I don't think the only good answer is, when you're still in business and you still have clients, you're doing something good. That's the only validation that you have. But if I'm honest, that's the biggest challenge that I have.
Definitely. No, definitely makes sense. So what do you feel like is the biggest problem in your industry, and what are you guys really doing to solve for that?
So are you talking like in our agency industry or our clients industry?
So I guess I would ask from your client's lens, what do you feel like their biggest problem is? Like, what do they have to deal with, and how are you guys asserting yourself to solve for that?
Yeah. So what I often see, especially when I'm on a call with founders, that they just don't really know what to do. They're like, there's so many things that I can do. Should I focus on the goal is usually to grow their store or to get more profitable, So it can be all tiny other goals, but it all comes down to those two: either grow or to get more profitable. And they often come to me and I said, "What's your problem?" And they sometimes are honest and they say, "I don't know." Sometimes they say it's our conversion rate, and it's not the conversion rate. When we go in, we figure out it's something else. Sometimes they say, I need more traffic, and it's not the traffic that's the problem. So oftentimes they don't really know what the problem is, and that is what's making them feel stuck. That's what makes their growth stagnate. And it is also very difficult because there's SEO, there's paid ads, there's influencers. You can go into affiliates. You can do redesign. You can, incorporate AI in your business. Should you maybe make more product images? Should you make videos? Like so many things that you need to do. Should I focus on retention, on my AOV? So I feel oftentimes that they're like, I just don't know. I wish that someone would tell me what is step one, what is step two, what is step three, and I'll do it. And that is the biggest problem, where it actually boils down to knowing what to do and what has priority, like what to do now. That's also, for example, why in our community we have 9 steps of what to do. And you have to do one before you can do step two. You have to do step two before you can do step three. And we actually also, as a feedback, get from them it's good to have just a framework, a guideline, because then you stop doubting yourself, because I'm not the only one who's doubting himself sometimes, and I think that is what we help them discover. This is what is important for you right now, and this is what you should focus on, and giving them that guidance.
Yeah, that's a super underutilized step, I feel like, when helping these types of businesses is like sometimes being in the business, it's very hard to kind of compartmentalize things and, figure out like what actually is the most important and what steps do I need to take in order to reach XYZ goal. And yeah, I can definitely relate to that where, there will be moments where, I've got a lot going on and I'm stressed and I'm like, I got
Uh-huh.
this, I got to do that, I got to do that. And having a coach there that's guiding you through that process, whether that's business, whether that's health, it's super important.
Yeah, yeah, you need someone kind of like take you by the neck and lift you up and say like, "Hey, look at from like a bird's eye view,"
Yeah.
because you're there. Like the most passionate ones, they are usually also the ones that are so in their business. They don't realize that they actually need to take a step back in order to move forward. Yeah.
Right. And so, Mark, if you wanted the viewers to take away one thing from this interview, or you can impart with one final thought or idea, what would that be?
Yeah, that is that growth is very interesting and appealing, but you should start with the boring stuff first, and that is fix your foundations. I see that once they are set, like we see it also because we work a lot with 7 and 8 figure stores as well. The ones that have that set, when you're going to grow, like if you are constantly putting out fires, then if you grow, you're going to add fuel to that fire, and it's only going to get worse. You need to make sure that you put them out and that you maybe hire someone who can help you lighten the load. Like a lot of these a lot of brand owners, founders, they have such a heavy load. They carry a lot of burden, and they need someone in their team to relieve them of it. And once you can do that, once you work on, okay, what is the problem? And usually it is either people are not buying, so you need to focus on your conversion rate, or people are buying, but you're just breaking even, so you need to work on your average order value. And especially if you have supplements or consumables, you need to work on your retention. If you have those covered, and if you're going to, for example, want to grow, and you're going to add more people to your site, and they convert well, they spend enough money, and they come back, then you're in a healthy cycle. So fix those foundations first. It might not be the newest tool that you're going to implement, or like, hey, TikTok, which is booming, and we need to focus on that, or there's a new other hype. It is maybe not as flashy, but it's definitely going to reduce the stress and going to make your life a lot easier.
100%. And Mark, for any of our viewers out there that want to connect, collaborate, or even work with you, what would be the best way for them to get in contact?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Marc Uitterhoeve. You can also just go to dexter.agency. That is our website, and you can get into touch with us. You can also send me an email, Marc with a C at dexter.agency, if you feel like, hey, maybe you can help us. I'm a bit stuck. And check out our community. It's called 7 Figure Foundations. In a sense, like we help you build the foundations to get to 7 figures and beyond. So we're on schools. You can also find us there.
That's amazing. Well, guys, I'm going to link all of Mark's stuff in the description. Definitely go check him out. And again, Mark, thank you so much for coming on today's episode. Had a blast having you on, learning more about you and what your company does, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I had a great time, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure.